Hi, Lindy here, and thank you for watching my channel. If you are new to my videos, welcome. Today we're going to do a tutorial on how to crochet Tulip Granny Squares. It's called a Tulip Granny Square because the design resembles a tulip. This is different from the well-known crocheted granny squares, and I thought it would be nice to learn a new pattern. At the end of this video, I have provided a link which shows you how I assembled the Tulip Granny Squares to make this Tote Lunch Bag. So let's begin the tutorial on how to make the Tulip Granny Squares. I'm going to make these squares in 6 different colors on each side of the tote bag, which is a narrow tote bag. All of these yarns I'm using are pure cotton. The center we will use the magic circle, so we have 8 double crochet stitches. For the corner we're going to make 2 chain stitches between the double crochets, and for the center we're going to make 1 chain stitch between the double crochets. So let's begin. We'll put that aside. So we're going to start with our magic circle, which means that you can tighten this up as tight as you wish. I've left a little opening so that it matches all the other openings. And the way I like to make the magic circle is to take the yarn over the palm of your hand, and then we're going to go loosely round once, twice. Then we're going to pull this one towards the tip of your finger and take this one and take it right off into a slip knot. The whole idea of this is that the loose end will pull it shorter or longer, so we can make the circle as large as we wish to start working in it. Begin with the magic circle size that works for you to hold comfortably. And we're going to begin by making 2 chain stitches. 1, 2. That is your first double crochet. Then we do a chain in between and another double crochet. Now we're going to do 2 chain stitches and a double crochet, and 1 chain stitch and a double crochet. So here we have 2 chain stitches between the 2 double crochets, which each have 1 chain stitch. So we're going to do that 2 more times to make our 8 double crochets. Now we need 2 chain stitches and a slip stitch into the top of this one. And now we can turn it over, tighten up the magic circle, pull it nice and tight, and later on we can decide how big we want that circle to be in comparison to the other ones. So let's begin the puff stitch. And we know that this is the wrong side because of the thread, so we need to make sure we're on the right side. If you are curious as to why I have this long yarn still attached, if you watched my daisy square baby blanket, you'll remember that when I sew it together, I keep this to sew the squares together so that I don't have to weave any extra yarn back. So instead of weaving that yarn back and then starting and doing it again, I do it like this. And I like to end here because I usually will sew together. I'll go that way and then I will actually sew back again to secure the stitching here. So we're now going to do the puff stitches, and if you see, the puff stitches have 2 puff stitches on each corner and 1 on each center, and between the puff stitches on the corner we do 2 chain stitches, and here we do 1 chain stitch. The most important part is to make sure that they're all the same length, and I use 7 strands in each puff stitch. So we start where we've finished. If you're changing yarns, you can obviously start wherever you wish, but if you are right here with the same yarn, you need to be in this position. We're going to start by making 2 chain stitches, 1, 2, then yarn over, and we're going to go into this center, yarn over, pull it up in line with the 2 chain stitches, again yarn over, back into that same hole, yarn up. We've got 5, we want 7 threads. There we have 7, and now we're going to pull them all through and finish it off. So that is the center one. You can see this is the corner. Now we're going to do 1 chain stitch to get to the corner, and we're going to go yarn over and 2 puff stitches into this corner. Keep pulling the thread up in line, and here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're going to go yarn over, pull through all the stitches and the last one, and then we're going to do, close it off, 2 chain stitches, 1, 2, yarn over, back into the same hole, pull up. Close off that end and 1 chain stitch. So we've got 2 puffs with 2 chain stitches in the corner, and on the sides we've got 1 chain stitch between each puff. Now we go into another center one. So 1 chain stitch, yarn over into that hole, pull it up, yarn over, back into the hole, pull it up, yarn over, back into the hole, and there we have our 7 stitches, yarn over, pull through all 7 stitches and finish off. And we're going to continue corner, corner until we get back to this corner, and I'll meet you there. Here we are at the last corner, and we will complete 2 puff stitches with 2 chain stitches between the puff stitches. Make a slip stitch just before the first puff stitch. So now that we've finished the puff row, we're going to start the next row, which is double crochet, and the only spaces are at the corners where there are 2 chain stitches. So you'll have 3 double crochets, 3 into this hole, 3 into that, then 3 and a space and 3. begin with 2 chain stitches. And we're going to do 3 double crochets into the first hole, which is the center hole. Here are our corners. We've got 2 center holes now as it grows. Now we will complete 3 double crochets, 2 chain stitches and 3 double crochets into the corner. Two chain stitches and 3 more double crochets. And here we can see the corner. So we'll keep going and I'll meet you at the end. We have completed the first 3 double crochets into the corner, then 2 chain stitches and the second set of 3 double crochets into the corner to finish this round. And now that we've finished our last corner, all we need to do now is join to the very first stitch with a slip stitch. It's important how we finish this, because what we're going to do is, with this next one, we're actually going to do 3 of these into where our spaces are, and then 2 on each corner. So we're going to do a slip stitch here, and later we will stretch this to get a nice square shape. So now we're going to do our final row in our square, which is this last row, also double crochets. But as you can see, at the corners there are 2 double crochets with 2 chain stitches. And then here we have 2 double crochets, but no chain stitches between them. And then we're going to have to go back into that hole. So we're going to do 2 chain stitches, 1, 2, and then the double crochet has got to come into this one. Two. Okay. Then we've got to go into the next space, 2 double crochets, and then 2 double crochets into this space. So let's keep going and I'll meet you at the end. Thank you to one of my subscribers who took the time to comment on how I crochet. I'd love to hear from anybody if you have a similar style of crocheting. And it really got me thinking, because I was taught by a friend of my mom's when I was 10 years old, and she was left-handed. So she sat opposite me and I was mirror imaging her, and somehow I picked up her way of crocheting. I have tried to mimic how other people do it by holding the yarn in their left hand and crocheting with their right hand. But I just find by holding the fabric in my left hand and keeping the yarn and the crochet hook in my right hand, that seems to be the way I managed best. Thank you for that comment. I always love to hear from you. So I sometimes find it pulls a little bit on the corners. So on each corner I do a chain stitch just to loosen it a little bit. On the edge of each corner I do 2 chain stitches at the corner, and then I just do 1 chain stitch to loosen that part a little bit. Otherwise you're stretching it, and this cotton doesn't have a lot of stretch in it. So now you've got a better stretch in the corners. And then at the very end, depending on where you started, we need to do a slip stitch to connect them. So we're just going to go into the first stitch and go round and then pull through. And then I saw a lovely way to finish off the other day. So now just cut yourself a small piece of, take it like that, and you thread your needle. You take the needle through and you pull it so that it comes up to the next stitch, and then you go into the stitch and you pull it like that, and then you keep going into this stitch and into this one, so that you just closing it off a little neater, and then you come back here through this one, and now we're going to weave down through to the back, and sew this off. And obviously it's easier if your square is one color. And we're going to finish off this one now. And we're going to match it up with this one, so that the circle center is similar. And now we're going to go and stretch out the square. If you want to make a larger square, after this row, the 4th row, you will then start the puff row again, and so you will go on. Here we have the tulip squares being stretched, ready to sew them together and make up the Tote Lunch Bag. The square bottom right is one of the squares for my up-and-coming sunburst beach bag. Look out for this video, ready for summer. Part 2 is how to assemble your Tote Lunch Bag, and I have a link at the end of this video to show you how I did that. My name is Lindy, and thank you for watching my channel. If you enjoyed this tutorial on how to crochet Tulip Granny Squares, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, and you'll be able to see further in my series on handmade bags. And as always, I'm very keen to hear your comments. Take care and bye.